What's up everybody and welcome to the Beats Authority. Today we are reviewing Steve Lacy new album Gemini Right. Overall I found it to be a great album. I love how Steve is doing his own thing, he's doing his own aesthetic, he's defining his own identity and is not conforming to the musical current landscape. Okay, let's go on a deep dive. Static is a beautiful intro. The chord progression reminds me of Lauryn Hill X Factor. It's very musical. I love the second part of it mostly because it's a mini orchestration between the piano, the guitars playing on the right and on the left. There's an interesting panning going on. It's pretty hypnotic. The sound design is pretty interesting because the guitars feel like a guitar more than they sound like a guitar. It's pretty unusual sounding. Beautiful music, but I think it could have been a little bit more majestic. It could have been a little bit more orchestrated than that, but still it's amazing. Helmet reminds me a little bit of the Beatles music, especially with the mixing, with the drums that are way on the back, super panned left right, in a musical landscape that is super low and heavy, super bassy, super 808, super kick. I really appreciate that Steve Lacy here is doing his own thing. I don't think he's trying to bring back that era, but he's doing a great twist to it. The only thing I would say is that I think that the bass is a little loud for this type of aesthetic. The last piano phrase at the end is just great. Yo, Mercury is honestly amazing. It's super catchy. The stacking of the vocals is just great. There's a real effort here of orchestrating things together. Either it is through the a cappella sections or with the trumpets being added. It just musically makes sense and everything is at its right place. I love the bounce of this song. It can make your head and it can make your body move. If you pay attention, you will notice that the rhythmic section here is more felt than it is heard. You don't hear much of what's going on with the drums and the percussions, but it's just felt, and that's a beautiful work of producing. And I checked the credit, this man Steve Lacy produced this whole thing, so great job. Buttons is just not as special as the rest so far. It feels like a little jam in the garage with friends. You can listen to it, no problem. There is nothing really bad about it, but there's nothing that stands out. Bad Habits has two different parts with a nice smooth transition in between. The first part is nothing really special to me. It sounds like sometimes a little bit distorted, but the second part comes in really strong. The switch is amazing. The chord progression is really cool. The vocals work again is really good here. This is a great signature he's having throughout so far. The bit crushed beat is super weird, and that mixed with the vocals just creates some very weird music, but nice weird music. Together could have been a little longer because it's actually really nice. And again, vocal production, stacking, harmonizing the vocals is just on point in this album. Cody Freestyle is this ambient track where we can hear Steve singing in falsetto, kind of rapping at some point. I really like the sound design and the aesthetic here. The vocals feel pretty raw, and I think it's on purpose. It doesn't feel like too processed, too compressed, too auto-tuned. It's just like just enough for it to still feel natural, and I really enjoy that, especially now in 2022 where everybody's over auto-tuning. This is nice for the ears. It feels like the guy's right next to you and he's just singing. Amber feels like the type of songs that I'd like to see played live, especially when you see that there is room for what feels like improvised solos at the end with the vocal and the guitar. It just feels like a nice jam. I don't think the mixing is great here. I think few ambient things were a little too loud and could have been more on the background, and some other instruments that I feel more important, like the piano and even his vocals, are not shining enough. And again, back to the same problem I feel throughout this whole album is the bass. It feels just too loud and too boomy and too unnecessarily present. This song is a little bit messy in terms of mixing. In Sunshine with Fouché, I like the recording. I like how you can hear the pedal of the drum kick. There is some white noise left or added on purpose to accentuate that aesthetic. This type of sound reminds me of Adrian Young, who uses a lot of analog gear, so I don't know here if it's really analog for the recording because you can fake anything nowadays, so I'm not sure. And again, whoever mixed the bass in this album, Give You the Word is the outro song. It has a nice chill, very 70s type of vibe. Nice melodies, nice falsettos here, and surprisingly nice bass. My favorite song in this album is obviously Mercury, and my least favorite is Buttons. In conclusion, I think this album is great. It feels like Steve Lacy is really trying. I'm not even gonna say trying, he's actually doing his own thing. He's not listening to the trends, he's not listening to how things are supposed to sound right now. He has a pretty strong vision and it's really tasteful what he's making. Special mention to the vocal production. Honestly, here I think they did a great job of stacking, of harmonizing. The vocal performance is great, but what they did in post-production is what's impressive here. Looks like he has already a signature sound, a specific aesthetic, a specific sound design. It reminds me a little bit of Tyler the Creator. Not that they sound the same at all actually, but he just worked a lot on defining his own identity sonically. So there is a lot of effort put on that aspect of the music, but I would love to see more effort put on the composition, on the actual melodies and the chord progression. They are amazing here, but they can go to the real next level. And I really hope for the next one, the bass is not gonna be a problem like it is here. Honestly, it ruined it a little bit. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. No, I'm not. It was literally eating up the whole mix at moments. Overall, great album and super refreshing to hear that in 2022 in the current landscape. Thank you for listening. Like the video. Let me know what you think about the album. Check my intro video and my review of Drake, Honestly Nevermind. See you next week. Peace.